Well, we're going to be spending this whole week just walking through Hebrews chapter 12 and learning about running the race of faith. So today I encourage you to look at verses 3 through 6, and our focus is especially on Hebrews 12, verse 3. Consider him who endured such hostility against himself from sinners, so that you may not grow weary or lose heart. That tells us something really important. First of all, we shouldn't be surprised if there is hostility to living a truly Christ-like life, because the values of Jesus are not the values of this world. They're not the values of our culture. And if we truly try to live as Jesus taught us to live, we may face everything from apathy to hostility. And so we should just expect that that's a possibility in our life. And even more so, we're encouraged not to grow weary or lose heart. And that means it's possible to grow weary. It's possible to lose heart as we're trying to run this race of faith with resilience and perseverance, because it is a marathon, and it's a marathon that goes on as long as we live. That's much longer than 26 miles and change. And so what do we do to try to prevent ourselves from growing weary or losing heart? We are to consider him, which is, of course, Jesus. Did Jesus grow weary? Did Jesus lose heart? No, he persisted, and he endured, and he went on even to the point of shedding his own blood. And that's very, very important, very, very important. And sometimes that discipline comes from the Lord. In verse 5, it says, "My child, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, or lose heart when you are punished by him, for the Lord disciplines those whom he loves." And so sometimes part of what happens to us in running our race of faith is we may grow weary because what the Lord is asking us to do or to endure or to suffer is really difficult. It's really hard. And it can be easy to just cry out and say, "How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever?" As one of the Psalms cries out plaintively in a lament. And yet always coming back to Jesus and thinking of what Jesus endured, the opposition, the hostility, the lies, the false claims, the physical abuse, even to the point of his death on the cross. Whatever we're going through, it's probably not as bad as what Jesus endured. And we are to consider him and all he endured and suffered so that we don't grow weary and we don't lose heart. I'll close with a brief movie illustration. It's a very violent film, so it's not for everybody. But there was a movie that came out in the 1990s called Braveheart, which was about William Wallace, a Scottish hero. And in that scene, in that movie, there is a Scottish lord who is inspired by Wallace, but doesn't have the courage to follow him. And he says to his father at one point about how much he doesn't want to lose heart. He says, "I don't want to lose heart. I want to believe as he believes." And then he looks at his father and says, "I will never be on the wrong side again." God doesn't want us to be on the wrong side either, nor does God want us to lose heart. So believe in Jesus and follow the way of Christ.